more information, and if anybody asks me why I keep comparing the Fuji X-T2 to the D500, it's because a lot of people ask me to do that. A lot. And I mean a lot. First, let's start off by saying, and I didn't even go to bed last night until like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I've made 13 videos so far. I've already done hardcore dynamic range testing. The Fuji X-T2, simply from the spectrum of Fuji, is a game changer. As I've stated, there is no intermediate ground between the Fuji X-T1, which I own a couple of, and the X-T2. I mean, people keep asking me, is the Fuji X-T2 a step up from the X-T1? And the answer is no, it's not. It actually missed a step, or actually two. I mean, it went from X-T1, both single-point autofocus and continuous autofocus tracking. We all have to admit we love the camera, but, you know, the tracking was, no bueno. The X-T2 is radically faster. Now, if you talk about two different things. Tracking, of course, is based in several different areas. Lens autofocus tracking, the type of mechanism used for tracking, and also we'd have to talk about the buffer versus the actual autofocus tracking itself. I mean, if you can track something super fast but you haven't got the buffer for it, then, you know, then we have something great and something pretty good but not so great. Now, the Nikon D500 is rocking out XQD cards. Now, I've got the fastest cards in here that money will buy. Now, I didn't get my X-T2 vertical grip in time. I know I'll be able to shoot in boost mode a lot faster, but a lot of people did ask me about just the camera specifically. The autofocus tracking is faster than the Nikon D500. Now, if you just want to, say in some action scenes, and I'm not a JPEG shooter, I always shoot lossless compressed on my Fuji, plus fine JPEGs, both of those, raw and fine at the same time. And now, of course, you know, unlike the Sony, we actually have a camera that A, doesn't overheat, B, has better 4K video than Sony, C, has a dual card slot. You know, Sony, hello, where are you on the dual card slots? And this camera has incredible tech support, incredible customer service. I mean, Sony customer support is absolutely the worst of all of them, period. Flat out, bar none. Magnesium chassis, made in Japan, fit, finish, and build quality is basically identical to that of the Fuji X-T1. So, tracking versus buffering. Buffering versus tracking, okay? Doesn't matter what SD card I stick in this, it is not going to maintain writing RAW files even once I get my vertical grip as compared to the Nikon D500. So that level of insane buffering to an XQD card does not exist. So, is this a game changer? Is it perfectly? Are you going to find anything lacking for using this for sports, action, wildlife, or photojournalistic work? And the answer is no. You're not going to miss anything. It is full out. Fully capable. You're not going to find it lacking in those departments. You're not. A tip I got from Fuji Rumors is that if you have an ability to shoot sequentially or do a backup where it's writing the same thing to card 1 and card 2, there's another option where you write RAW files to card 1 and JPEGs to card 2, and I got this info from Fuji Rumors. And with that, with the boost on, with the vertical grip, you have an absolutely bottomless buffer at 5 frames per second. 5 frames per second. So by itself, just amongst Fuji's cameras, it is a radical game changer. It is not a step up from the X-T1. It is literally, there is no way that I could call this a step up from the X-T1, and that's what everybody was expecting. It's like, oh, there'll be some incremental improvements. No, this is not like the Canon 5D Mark III versus the 5D Mark IV, and people have been waiting 4 years for that camera, and it's like, what, really? That's what you brought out with? That's what you came out with? No. There have been a couple steps that have not been filled above the X-T1, and that is what the X-T2 is, and that's what's going to really shock people once the reviews start rolling in. So while you do have superior autofocus tracking on the Fuji X-T2, and I know I don't have the vertical grip yet, and I know the capabilities of it versus without the vertical grip and boost mode, I know about all of that. But nevertheless, is the buffering going to match writing out the huge lossless compressed files as the Nikon D500? No, it's not. But it also has faster autofocus tracking. And if you wanted to, say, for example, temporarily switch over for some action shot of shooting JPEGs only, I mean, you can sit there even with the camera only in boost mode, without the vertical grip, you know, shoot off a string of really insanely fast autofocus tracking shots and just keep rocking for quite a while. Shooting JPEG only. Now shooting RAW to card 1 and JPEG to card 2 in boost mode without the vertical grip, the camera is more than capable and will make someone extremely happy for sports action and wildlife. Now I have my vertical grip coming. So I just want to point out those differences. Everybody say, well, how great is the autofocus tracking? You have to ask the follow-up question, well, how great is the autofocus tracking combined with the buffering capability? No matter how good the buffering on the X-T2 is, and right now I have 280 megabit per second SD cards in here, and that's of course read speed, that's not write speed, and there is a Lexar card faster than this, the Lexar 2000, but Lexar SD cards are junk. I will never use Lexar SD cards for many valid reasons. These cards are like $62, replacing with the 300 megabit per second cards, which are not out yet. These are UHS-2 cards, as you can see the double pin slot on the back. Nevertheless, they are SD cards, and this is an XQD card in slot 1. So that buffering capability is not matched in the Nikon D500. That being said, taking everything into perspective, it is a game-changer camera that is not going to disappoint somebody. And like I said, unlike the D500 and other cameras where, you know, adding a vertical grip is just adding a vertical grip. You know, you get an extra battery and you get a vertical grip. The capabilities of the Fuji X-T2 are split between the camera and the vertical grip. So anybody that's going to be getting the Fuji X-T2 and the vertical grip is going to be an extremely happy camper. And additionally so, let's just, you know, let's step back and take a look at what we got here. We got a camera that's $1,600. With a vertical grip and taxes, you're basically talking $2,000, which is the exact same price as this. Camera only, not including the vertical grip. This camera has incredible customer service. This is made in Japan. This is not made in Japan. This is incredibly well built. Am I going to make a decision between the D500 and the X-T2? I'm not. Which is more of a game changer? If both of these cameras rolled out at the same time, which is more of a game changer? It's kind of neck and neck, but it will happen to be, taking this completely objectively as a conclusion, that the X-T2 is more of a game changer because it will make any form and any variety of shooter extremely happy for a relatively low cost point for an extremely well built camera. And the fact that this is radically different than the X-T1, and now that it's not like, well, it's good enough for sports and action. No, it's not a step up from the X-T1 in that sense, and that's what people were expecting. It's not. It's like, no, I'm actually happy shooting sports, action, wildlife, photojournalistic, you know, fast moving. It's like, no, this makes me happy. This is not like, well, you know, it's good enough, or, you know, yes, it's a big step from the X-T1. It's not. It is well above that. And if you get this and test drive it, like I said, don't make a penny no matter whatever you buy, you'll find that that is the case. Okay? So I hope I clarified that. I actually have to go do some more testing. I've been killing myself on the testing, by the way. Flash, infrared photography, I did dynamic range testing, which I've got a video for that, I got a video for this, I got a video for that. Once I get the X-T2 grip, which should be in 48 hours, I will have, or maybe a little bit more than that, I will have a video on that as well. I had no control over not being able to get the X-T2 grip, but it's coming. But I've already tested it on the pre-production version, so I know what its capabilities are. And even though the X-T2 is more complicated, the actual menu system on the X-T2 is easier to go through. Definitely a good bit more complicated than the X-T2, even more so than the X Pro 2, which was complicated enough. However, the way that Fuji's laid it out, it's even easier to use than the Fuji X-T1 is. So it's more complicated, but it's actually easier to use because the ingenuity of how things have been laid out on the X-T2 are incredible. I love the fact that I'm able to program this button to the play button like I have in my Nikon. I don't have to do this number all the time, you know, constantly hitting the play button, you know. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to move my hand. I can go immediately from shutter to play and back to shutter again. I don't have to do anything with this other hand, okay? Nothing. I can do everything right here with one hand, and Fuji, you nailed it on that one. You did a good job. I'm so glad you finally got that. That's awesome. So, anyway, a bunch more views to come. Catch you later. Bye.